What if we could bend the rules of reality? What if we could make something as large as a warship simply disappear? This is the story of the Philadelphia experiment. It is a tale that lives in the shadows of history. The year was 1943. The world was at war. The United States Navy was looking for an edge, a way to protect its ships from enemy eyes and radar. The story goes that they tried something truly radical. They tried to make a ship, the USS Eldridge, invisible. This was not just camouflage. This was an attempt to use powerful electromagnetic fields to bend light and radio waves around the ship, making it vanish completely from sight. The legend has been told for decades. It has been the subject of books and movies. It captures our imagination because it touches on something we all wonder about. Are there secrets hidden from us? Can science do things that seem like magic? The official story says the experiment never happened. It is dismissed as a hoax, a misunderstanding of degaussing technology used to make ships invisible to magnetic mines. But the whispers persist. People talk about strange lights, sailors who went mad, and a ship that briefly appeared hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, before returning to Philadelphia. It's a story that refuses to die. Why do we keep telling this story? It is because it represents a powerful idea. The idea that humanity is on the verge of a great breakthrough. We are always reaching for the next frontier. We have explored the deepest oceans and the farthest reaches of space. The next frontier might be reality itself. The Philadelphia experiment, whether real or not, is a symbol of that ambition. It is a reminder that the line between what is possible and what is impossible is always moving. We are constantly pushing the boundaries of what we know and what we can do. The core of the legend is not just about a disappearing ship. It is about the people on board. The stories say the sailors suffered terrible fates. Some were said to have become fused with the metal of the ship. Others supposedly went insane or would fade in and out of view for the rest of their lives. These dark details make the story more than just a science fiction tale. They make it a cautionary one. It warns us that when we play with the fundamental forces of the universe, there can be unforeseen and terrifying consequences. It asks a profound question. Just because we can do something, does it mean we should? Let us imagine for a moment that the stories are true. On that day in October 1943, the generators on the USS Eldridge roared to life. A strange greenish fog began to surround the vessel. To the onlookers at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, a truly impossible event unfolded. The massive steel warship did not just become hard to see, it flickered out of existence. One moment, it was there, a solid object floating in the water. The next, there was nothing but the disturbed water where it once sat. It had completely and utterly vanished from our reality. For the men on the ship, the experience would have been beyond comprehension. Their world would have dissolved into a chaotic swirl of energy and light. What did they see? Perhaps they saw through time itself, catching glimpses of the past and the future all at once. The laws of physics as they knew them would have ceased to apply. The solid deck beneath their feet might have felt like liquid. The air itself might have crackled with an energy that seeped into their very bones. This was not just a journey across space, but a violent tear in the fabric of their existence, a nightmare from which they might never truly awaken. Then, minutes later, the ship reappeared. For the observers, it would have been a miracle. But for the crew, the horror was just beginning. The stories of men embedded in the steel bulkhead speak to a terrifying possibility. What if the ship and its crew had become unstuck from reality? What if, when the ship rematerialized, the atoms of the men and the atoms of the ship were not separate anymore? They would have become one, trapped forever in a metal tomb. The survivors would be scarred, not just physically but mentally, haunted by the memory of a place that was not a place at all. This event, the successful demonstration of teleportation and invisibility, would change everything. The ship did not just become invisible, it traveled almost instantaneously to Norfolk and back. This would be proof that our understanding of space and time is incomplete. It would suggest that the universe has hidden doorways, shortcuts that could be opened with enough power and the right knowledge. The vanishing of the USS Eldridge would no longer be a military trick. It would be humanity's first, terrifying step into a larger, stranger cosmos, a journey into the unknown that we were not prepared for. If the Philadelphia experiment was real, the immediate reaction from the government would be absolute secrecy. This would be a secret more important than the atomic bomb. The ability to make fleets invisible and teleport them across the globe would be the ultimate military power. No enemy would be safe. No border would be secure. A special group, hidden from all public and even most government oversight, would be formed. Its only job would be to understand, control, and weaponize this new power. Every person involved would be sworn to secrecy under the threat of severe punishment. For the scientists who witnessed the event, it would be a moment of both triumph and terror. They would have achieved the impossible, breaking open a new field of physics overnight. But they would also have seen the horrifying cost to the human crew. This would create a deep divide in the scientific community. Some would want to push forward, eager to explore the new possibilities regardless of the risk. Others would be horrified, arguing that they had unleashed something they could not control. These secret debates would happen in hidden labs and underground bunkers, far from the public eye. And what about the public? We would know nothing officially, but secrets like this are hard to keep. Rumors would spread like wildfire through naval bases and coastal towns. A sailor's strange story told in a bar, a family member's hushed concern over a loved one who came back different from the war. These whispers would become the foundation of the legend we know today. Without proof, they would be dismissed as conspiracy theories. But these stories would be the echoes of a hidden truth, a society trying to make sense of something it was not allowed to understand. Over time, this secrecy would create a different kind of world. It would be a world with a deeper level of distrust between the people and their government. Every unexplained event or strange sighting could be blamed on them, the secret keepers of the teleportation technology. A culture of paranoia would take root. People would wonder what other marvels or horrors were being developed in the shadows. The world would feel less stable, less predictable. We would live with the constant, unsettling feeling that the reality we see is not the only one, and that powerful forces are moving things just behind the curtain. If the experiment was real, its technology would have secretly shaped the world we live in today. Imagine a hidden Cold War, fought not with spies and nuclear threats, but with teleportation and cloaking devices. Secret bases could be established anywhere on the planet or even on the moon, supplied by teleported materials. Covert operations would reach a new level. Special forces could be inserted behind enemy lines without a trace, and then vanish just as quickly. The history we read in books would be a lie, a carefully constructed story to hide the real conflicts fought in the shadows. Science and technology would have split into two streams. There would be the public stream, the one that gave us computers and the internet. Then there would be the secret stream, built on the physics of the Philadelphia experiment. This hidden science would be decades, maybe centuries ahead of what the public knows. It might have explored other dimensions, time travel, or communication with other forms of intelligence. The greatest geniuses of our time might not have worked at universities, but in secret underground facilities, their discoveries never to be published or shared with the world. This secret knowledge would have profound effects on our everyday lives, even if we did not know the source. Perhaps some medical breakthroughs, like MRI technology, are simpler versions of the energy fields used in the experiment. Maybe certain advanced materials or power sources were developed from this hidden research and slowly introduced into the public domain without explanation. We might be using technologies every day that are the direct descendants of the USS Eldridge's strange journey. We would see the effects, but never understand the cause, attributing them to normal progress. Ultimately, a world where the Philadelphia experiment was real would be a world of profound mystery. It would mean that humanity holds the keys to the universe but is too afraid to use them openly. History would be a story of what we were allowed to know, not what actually happened. We would look at the stars and wonder not if we can go there, but if we have already been. The greatest truth of our existence, that we are not bound by space or time, would be the greatest secret ever kept, leaving us to live in a smaller, simpler reality, never knowing the true extent of our own power.